Hey everyone, and welcome. When you think of a laboratory, what comes to mind? For me, it's this amazing place of discovery, where we get to peek behind the curtain of how the world works. It's a space filled with so much potential, but it's also a place that demands our full respect. So let's dive in. Now, I want to start with a question for you. Think about all the incredible things you can do in a lab, sparking chemical reactions, figuring out what things are made of. But out of all of that, what do you think is the single most important experiment you will ever conduct? You might be surprised. The answer is safety itself. Yep, before you even pick up a test tube or light a Bunsen burner, your first and most important job is to run the experiment of creating a safe environment. Because think about it, that's the one experiment that makes all the others possible. Your safety has to come first, always. So, how do you ace this all-important experiment? Well, you're going to need the right gear. Think of your personal protective equipment, or PPE, as your own personal suit of armor. It's your very first line of defense against anything unexpected. First things first, before you do anything else, if you have long hair, you've got to tie it back securely. I know it sounds simple, but it is so important. You really don't want your hair to accidentally fall into a chemical, or even worse, get anywhere near an open flame. Next up, the classic lab coat. And it's not just about looking the part. This coat is a literal barrier. It's designed to protect your skin and your clothes from any accidental spills or splashes. It's the shield standing between you and something you don't want on you. Okay, this next one is completely non-negotiable. Safety goggles. Your eyes are incredibly vulnerable in the lab. These goggles are your dedicated shield, protecting you from everything from a splash of a volatile chemical to the intense heat coming off a flame. And finally, let's talk about your hands. They're your most important tools in the lab, so you have to protect them. The right pair of gloves will guard your skin against corrosive things, like concentrated acids that can cause really bad burns, or even just the heat from a burner. And that's it. These 4 simple steps build your complete personal safety system. Tying your hair, putting on your coat, securing your goggles, and pulling on your gloves. Consider it your pre-flight checklist for a successful experiment. So, you're all prepped, but what about your surroundings? A safe scientist needs a safe space to work in. Your workspace, that lab bench, is your stage, and it needs to be set properly before the show can begin. Now, cleaning isn't just something you do at the very end, it's actually a 2-step process. You clean before you start your experiment to make sure your results are pure and aren't contaminated by whatever was there before, and then you clean up after you're all done to make sure the lab is safe for you and for the next person who needs to use that space. All right, you're suited up, your space is clean. Now it's time to get down to business. But interacting with lab materials requires some serious focus and a strict set of rules. This is where caution is everything. You know, some things in the lab just demand your absolute full attention, like concentrated acids or an open flame from a Bunsen burner. This means you have to keep anything flammable far away. The area around a flame needs to be completely clear of any hazards. Every single one of these rules exists for one reason: to prevent a serious accident from happening. So you've finished your measurements. You've jotted down all your data. You're probably thinking, great, I'm done. But hold on. One of the most vital stages is still ahead. An experiment isn't really over until your whole area is clean and reset. This means thoroughly cleaning every tool and piece of equipment you used. And just as important, it means washing your hands really well. And look, this isn't just about basic hygiene. It's also about good science. Even a tiny invisible trace of a chemical from one test can totally contaminate and ruin the next one. And that leads us right to this crucial point. Cross-contamination can give you really misleading results, like weird color changes that shouldn't be there, and that can throw off your entire experiment. But you can avoid it by doing something simple: washing your hands between tests. It just goes to show you, good science is clean science. So as we wrap up, I want you to remember that safety isn't just a boring checklist you have to get through. It's a mindset. It's a habit of being aware and being prepared. And that brings me to one last thought for you. How can you apply these same principles of preparation, of care, of cleaning up in your life, even when you're